Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. I was sitting here thinking about George Kambosos, right? And his fight with Devin Haney. And, leading up to this fight, myself and others have been talking a lot about the disadvantages Haney has against him going into this fight. And they're true. From the money he had to take for the fight, to the location, to the rematch clause, the location in the rematch clause, his dad not being there, different promoter, different network, just time change, fucking different team trainer, just everything, just a horrible deal that Devin Haney had to take. And I was sitting here thinking today, you know what? He is taking a horrible deal. But then I said, well, you know what? Kambosos and Haney, although the deal sucks, they've kind of switched roles here. You see, Haney is Kambosos in this fight. You guys understand what I'm saying? Devin Haney is George Kambosos. And for that reason, you know what? I have to give Devin Haney a chance to really win this fight. Because before I was saying Devin Haney's already lost. He already lost the fight. He hadn't even landed in Australia. Not because I think Kambosos is the better boxer, but because I felt Kambosos is ferocious. And although Devin Haney should outbox him, there's no way Devin Haney would get a decision in Australia. I just felt like the fight would be close because Kambosos will fight back. So I felt like there was no way for Devin Haney to win. And then with the aforementioned disadvantages we briefly discussed. But I was sitting here and just kind of paying attention to the situation. And I was like, you know what? Let's kind of flip the script a bit, okay? Let's kind of make it the inverse, right? Let's kind of invert what we're talking about here. True indeed, Devin Haney is in a bad situation, but he's the Kambosos of this fight because Kambosos has made a career of traveling on the road and beating people in their backyards. Devin Haney is traveling on the road and is in Kambosos' backyard. Roles have been inverted. Okay? For that reason, you gotta look at this fight a little differently. You see, Kambosos had over 250 rounds of sparring with Manny Pacquiao. I don't care what you say, that helped him. And that gave this man the advantage going into people's backyards because of coming out of that Pacquiao camp and the sparring that he was doing. So that fueled him in knowing if I can get in there and give good work to Pacquiao, this opponent is nothing compared to Pacquiao. But these are the things, right? And any of you who have traveled on business or for whatever reason, once you leave your comfort zone of home, the focus tends to shift a bit, doesn't it? And it can go one or two ways. One way where you totally zero in on the business at hand, or you can get caught up in tomfoolery, lose focus, make mistakes. Kambosos, when he was on the road, he didn't have the distractions of a wife, didn't have the distractions of children, didn't have the distractions of friends, didn't have the distractions of other family, didn't have the distractions of shooting darts, playing pool, taking a little drink, women, going fishing, going to the beach, to-do lists around the house. Nothing, no distractions, just the business at hand because he was on the road away from home, living out a suitcase. being in somebody's guest house or in a hotel or whatever the arrangement was. That's the grind. Devin Haney is now grinding. And Devin Haney's circumstances, this camera's messing around. Devin Haney's circumstances, let's see if it comes back. Okay, there we go. His circumstances, to me, are a bit more extreme. Because he's out the suitcase. I don't care how fancy the hotel is or guest house. He's living on a suitcase. He's in some hotel or some arrangement, some lodging arrangement. Doesn't have the conveniences of home. There aren't too many distractions. His dad's not there. And he doesn't have his promoter. He doesn't have anyone really looking out for his best interest. He's just out there hot winging it. You understand? Devin Haney is hot winging it. For that reason, I feel Devin Haney has the mentality, a strong mentality, which will result in him focusing in, tunnel vision, the business at hand. Not getting caught up with the tomfoolery of, I'm away from back home, my girlfriend or girlfriends. If he's a smart man, he has plenty. You don't have his dad there. He's in beautiful Australia. He can go out there and change his name from Devin Haney to first name single, last name mingle, right? He's not doing that though. He's focused on the business at hand. Kambosos has all the distractions. I don't care what he's saying. Every time this man goes somewhere, someone's pushing a beer in his face. Someone's pushing food in his face, a piece of cake, something sweet. Because the Australian people are so proud of him and what he's able to accomplish. And he is a disciplined fighter, but I don't think has the focus that he was able to have when he was away from those temptations and distractions. Just don't think so. Now, he's talked a good game. I think he's won the first half of the fight, which is the press conference they had yesterday. He got the upper hand. Devin looked he looked bewildered. He looked a bit glossy-eyed in my opinion. But that's neither here nor there. You really got to understand the dynamic here. If George Kambosos was able to develop a focus while on the road that enabled him to muster the best fight possible in those on the road matches to come out victorious. You got to give Devin Haney the same chance to be able to do it. And he's shown that he has the discipline. He's shown that he's had the poise. And most importantly, at his young age, he's shown maturity beyond his age. So I have to give Devin the benefit of the doubt to go into this fight and win on the road with so many disadvantages, so many pitfalls in front of this man. And I don't think people are looking at it like that. They just see it in a negative light. And I understand because most people's minds is wired that way. Mine's isn't. It's like, okay, I get it. But at some point, I'll stop, set the drag on that. Those thoughts reel it in. And then let's look at it a little differently now. And that's what I'm saying here. Let's just look at it a little differently. Maybe Devin Haney is Kambosos in this fight. And Kambosos is what the opponents that he's faced in the past. Maybe he's become them now. Maybe Kambosos is the Teofimo Lopez. Maybe so, right? He's at home. He's got all the belts. Teofimo was talking a lot of foolishness. He's the best, doing pay-per-view on Triller. Triller's where the money's at. Jennifer Lopez is going to get on there, shake her bum bun. They're going to have all these different entertainers. They're the cash cow. They're the this, they're the that. He turned into a complete idiot when he beat Lomachenko. Kambosos Not as extreme, but he became the emperor, right? Kambosos is the emperor. You guys be the kings, you be the princesses, you be the whatever. I'm the emperor. Nah, man. You the at-home fighter with all the distractions, champ. That's what you just became. You're no emperor. Devin's no rat. Devin's Kambosos. You're Teofimo Lopez, man. That's what's going on in this fight, people. I still think it's going to be hard for Devin to win. But he needs to have a Kambosos-like performance. Do you understand what I'm saying? Devin Haney needs to perform like Kambosos. That's what needs to happen. And I have a feeling that may happen. Because Kambosos with his little, shirt and turtleneck, his little jacket, coming off a little bit arrogant and cocky and talking about how he tried to get Devin's dad in the country and calling him a rat. And I know they're trying to hype up the fight. Kambosos is a respectful person. I like Kambosos. Don't get me wrong. But when I was watching him at the press conference, it's making me feel that Kambosos is at home and he's going to lose because of all the comforts that at home provides him, especially in his unique situation under the circumstance of him traveling abroad, clipping, arguably at the time, the best fighter in that weight division at the time, Teofimo Lopez. And now he's come back home to Australia down under, and you better believe wherever he goes, someone's trying to have a little Bobby. And they're cooking, and this man here is running around. He's trying to duck and dodge and hide from friends, family, and fans because they're trying to show him love because he's their champion. And Kambosos, he's been fighting since a young age. He was getting bullied, got in the gym, loved it. Look what he did with himself. Outstanding. Still think it's a tough fight for Haney. But I'm going to go ahead and say I think we need to maybe just kind of look at it a little bit differently. Maybe this is a good thing for Haney. Kambosos was never in a situation like Haney's, but he was the guy who was on the road, right? But never with the type of challenges that Haney has. Got to look at it a little different and say, you know what? Haney may use this to fuel him, to put on a Kambosos type performance. And if Haney wins, I know they're not thinking along these lines, but I would hope he says something along the lines is, I knew when I came in this ring tonight, I had to fight like George Kambosos. That would trip up the commentators. That would shock the crowd. It probably shock George Kambosos. Because the commentator would probably say, well, what do you mean by that? And he would tell him, what I mean by that is Kambosos made a career traveling abroad, fighting and winning. Came across the waters, clipped Teofimo, snatched up all the belts, headed back down home. So for me, I knew I had to come out here abroad, out of my comfort zone, and do the same thing like what he did. Find a way to win so I can return home with the belts. In short, put on a Kambosos-like performance. And I think that would just be butter. I think that would be outstanding. Classic. I mean, historic. A moment in time type statement. But will it happen? I don't know. But I definitely feel Kambosos has what it takes to rise to the occasion and fight back. I mean, hell, the man fought 250 rounds with Manny Pacquiao, and you look at all his fights, he fights back. If you hit Kambosos, he fights back. Devin Haney, he will fight back. If you hit him, he wants to hit you back 2, 3, 4, 5,000 times. So Devin Haney's not going to just sit there and let you hit him. But I just don't see this as a fight where Devin Haney, if he comes in with the same old mentality of trying to box and control the man, Kambosos is a different type of animal. He's going to fight you. He's going to fight you. But I think that now that Devin is the guy abroad with all the challenges, I think he's going to have that focus. If it worked for Kambosos, why can't it work for Haney? Right? And it looks like we're going to get fair judges. There's a lot of eyeballs on this fight, people. Not just because it's for an undisputed distinction, but because the concern about Devin Haney getting robbed, especially with his dad not being there. And, you know, it's almost like Devin Haney's just out there on his own, hot winging it, man. And I just think a lot of people are paying attention. So that's my spin as of right now, because I've done like 5 or 6 other videos about Kambosos being the Australian Manny Pacquiao, and I still think he is. But I think we need to kind of look at it and say, there's just a switch that happened here. If we're going to sit there and say Kambosos is on the road, making a career winning, clipping people in the backyard, and he talks about how that fueled him and made him want to be great, okay? But why can't that be the same for Devin Haney? Let's talk that way about Devin Haney too. Now, true, Devin Haney has to prove it first by winning, but maybe there's something different in him now. Something that's going to give him that push necessary to get beyond those impediments that are in his way, right? And we're going to find out this weekend. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Shout out to all the veterans. As always, I am in the break.